Hey YouTubers, Steven here. How's everybody doing? Shout out to my new subscribers. Thanks for joining me. We're going to have another cooking video today. As you can tell by the title, yeah, we're going to have some ground beef, some mild cheddar, and some bacon, and some ketchup. I'm going to put this all together, and hopefully this will turn out. I looked all over the internet. I didn't find a recipe like it, so this may be a first. Double bacon cheeseburger beef jerky. Some of you know I've been talking in the chat rooms on Justin.tv during the cast that I've been thinking about making this. So today's the day. Wife's at work. I'm home. Last day off. I may even cook supper tonight on top of that, which I may film. But that's neither here nor there. So my plan is, I'm going to weigh out all my ground beef, see how much I have. I'm going to cut all the fat off the bacon. And then whatever bacon is left over, I'm just going to use it for lunch. Maybe make some toasted tomato and bacon sandwiches with a little mayo. Sounds good, I know. Maybe even a little lettuce if I have some. But anyways, I digress. So I'm going to try and keep everything proportionate. So if I have 2 pounds of meat, I'll do the math so that I use about 1/8 of that weight for bacon, because I don't want the bacon to be too overpowering. I'm going to shred the cheddar cheese very thin, and that I'm going to gauge as I mix it up. Not entirely sure, so I'm doing this recipe totally on the fly. I have a good idea of what I want, and as far as the ketchup, well, I'm going to play that by ear too and just go a little bit by little bit because I don't want too much ketchup in it. But the beef jerky recipes do require some liquid, so that's why I'm going to go with the ketchup. So let me get all the prep work done, and we'll come back when we go to put it all together. Alright, just thought of a tip for you while I've been trimming off all this fat off the bacon. That one's not a very good example. Let's use this one. There we go. Okay, so there's lots of fat on there we need to get off. Now, what I have been doing is taking my finger, putting it up here, and stretching my thumb back and following along with the meat. But I've come to realize this is much easier. Cut inside the meat, put your 4 fingers, you do your 4 fingers flat against the blade, line your knife up on the meat behind your 4 fingers. And when your knife gets to about here, move your hands up so that your blade rests on your fingers so you're not cutting yourself. Flip the meat over, and there's a whole lot of fat on this one. There we go. It's trimmed. So, now to keep at her, this is probably the most tedious part of this cooking experiment. Alright, so the prep work is almost complete. I've got 4 ounces of cheddar cheese, and this actually looks a little bit much. I've got 3 pounds of hamburger, so I wanted 1/8 of the hamburger for the bacon, which is 6 ounces. And let me tell you, this was a full pound package of bacon, and I got 6 ounces of meat out of it. So it's just about 50-50, which I was pretty surprised. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to grind up the bacon so that it's like ground beef, and then I'm going to start mixing. So we'll go. Alright, so we've got our ground beef. We've ground up our bacon, which actually looks pretty good. We have our shredded cheese. have our ketchup. So since I'm going to mix this all together, may as well put in the ketchup now. I'm doing 1/4 cup of ketchup. Good enough. 1/4 cup of ketchup. We'll see how that turns out in the mixture. The cheese I'm going to add a little after. I think I'll put half of the bacon in now and mix it up, and then I'll add the other half here in a minute. So make sure your hands are clean, folks, and make them dirty. And make sure you mix it really, really good, because I'm seeing that the bacon is clumping up in some spots, so you just have to break the spots up and make sure you get it as consistent as you can. This seems to be going fairly well, so maybe I'll add half of the cheddar, or approximately half. Might be a little too much, but this is an experiment, so why the hell not? You know what? Another 1/4 cup of ketchup, because it is still fairly dry. If I have enough ketchup. Close enough. So now we're looking at 1/2 cup of ketchup, and I'm going to put in the rest of the cheese. The heck with it. I can see a little bit of the cheese marbled in there. Well, maybe not all. There's still about 1/4 there. So that's about the marbled consistency that I'm making it. You know, little bits of cheddar mixed in with the hamburger. I'm sure there's bacon in there. It's similar in color. But, and the ketchup. I don't know if you can hear my finger, but I don't know if that really matters or not, you know, judging by how much ketchup's in there. But 3 pounds, 1/2 cup of ketchup. It's not too ketchupy. It's just a slight ketchup smell now to the hamburger, so I think we're good. I'm going to wash my hands, and I'm going to see how much cheese I have left over, because I weighed it, and then I'll know the exact amount of cheddar cheese that we put in it, or at least round it off to a good number. So I'll be right back. Alrighty, so we're going to load up the gun, similar to how I did the sausage jerky. Take a spoon and spoon it down the hole and push it down. Ooh, that one didn't want to go in. It wanted to jump out. And as you push it down, you'll probably hear the air coming out of it as well. It's a good idea to try and get it as much air out of there as you can when you see the air pockets. Alright, so, and in case you're looking at the setup, this is my wife's roasting pan. And what I've used for the racks at Walmart, they're $11 each. Or they're $11 for 3 rather. I think that's what we paid for them, $11 for 3. Anyways, if I'm wrong, I apologize. But they're cookie cooling sheets. Even though they're meant to only cool cookies, I mean, these are metal and they're got a baked enamel finish on them. They work great in the oven for doing jerky because your temperature is only 200 degrees. So we're going to squeeze some out here and we'll start filling our racks. pinch it off. That one's got a bit of a gap in it, but... Alright, look at this, folks. I had to change up to a cookie sheet because the way I had these racks hanging on the roasting pan, it just wouldn't hold the weight. But there, look, 4 racks of yummy beef jerky. Let's zoom in and look at the marbling. Wonder how good my camera can zoom in on all this. It's pretty close. Well, it's more focused on the racks below. Kind of impressive, though. Anywho, we're preheating the oven to 200 degrees Fahrenheit. And the reason why it's 200, hamburger, I believe, is 170 is what the internal temperature needs to be. If I'm off by a few degrees, I'm sure it's slightly above. But either way, the oven at 200 degrees for a minimum of an hour and a half. When I did the sausage jerky at an hour and a half, I didn't quite feel comfortable, so I let it go another 2 hours another hour and a half for 2 hours total. So I may do this with the ground beef jerky. If you're not sure, there's no harm in letting it cook a little longer. Just keep an eye on it so that you don't overcook it. So anywho, get this in the oven, and I can't wait to try this. It looks good. Oh my, look at that. Oh, half an hour to go, and if you could smell this, it smells like a freaking cheeseburger with bacon. We'll be back. There we go, folks. It's all done. Zoom out here a little bit. Now, I didn't like the consistency that it had after an hour and a half. So I took the racks off one by one, and I flipped all the meat over. And then I put the oven up to 300 and just let it sit in there for about another 20 minutes, I think it was. Just so that, you know, I'm working with beef, especially hamburger, and you never know what the stuff is like. So you got to make sure it's cooked thoroughly. And again, like I said, I just didn't like the consistency that I had in the mouth. It just didn't feel like it was cooked. So that's why I took the extra precaution of flipping it all over and just giving a little jack on the heat. So let's get the rest of these off the pans, and we'll have a little sample. So here we go. That's a pretty nice plate full. Isn't it? Lots of meat. So let's give this a try. I'll just take one of these little pieces here. Much better. Although I have to admit, it tastes just like a cheeseburger. There's a little ketchup there. I'm really not noticing the bacon. Although, it's a little bit there in the aftertaste. Not a whole lot. I am getting the cheese. I have to try another piece. Just another little piece. Because I know when the kids come home, they're going to kill this. Just like a cheeseburger. I almost swore. This is so good. Well, so thanks for joining me, everybody. Give it a try. See what you think. I think I would definitely put more bacon in there. Mind you, the thought of trimming 2 packages of bacon, it's kind of daunting. I may have to sit at the table for that. But so thanks for joining me, everybody. If you give this recipe a try, let me know. Tell me how you what you think of it. I wouldn't go over half a cup of ketchup. Maybe double the bacon. The cheddar cheese, it's pretty much bang on. I could have went with that full 4 ounces, I suppose. But all in all, this turned out great. My battery light's blinking. So thanks for joining me, everybody. Hope you're having a great day. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. Anyways, ciao.